I have some sunflowers here, and in the previous exercise we searched for angles, observing that although sunflowers are round, they don't always appear that way. So now I have a piece of paper, and I'm using a very large pencil here. This is by Lyra, but anyway, I'm doing this so you can see what I'm doing. So it's a little bit clumsy, and this will not be a masterpiece drawing, but that's okay. I basically want to show the method of transferring the knowledge of searching for angles into actually making a drawing. So as in that exercise where we had tissue paper and some vine charcoal, I'm going to search out the angles of those sunflowers, and I'm going to use a light touch.
It's hardly showing up.
My cameraman says it's hardly showing up, so I'll use a darker touch so it will show up. But if I was doing this on my own, I would be doing it light enough so that I can erase the guidelines later. These are called guidelines. That's not always necessary. Sometimes people like to see the guidelines. They feel like they're seeing the thought process of the artist. And in that exercise with the vine charcoal, I neglected to put in the angles of the inside of the flower, which pretty much follow the outside contour. So I'll put those in now, and I'm observing that we're seeing more petals up here than we do down here, because these are coming straight out at me. So I'm going to put that center a little bit lower, and I'm just going to mark where that inside follows. I'll put in the sunflower that I see beside it. And in this exercise, I won't get to doing any detail on this, but I want to block in, this is called blocking in, the whole image so that I'm sure the placement is pleasing, because if it isn't, I don't want to get into any detail. Again, I'm not seeing much of this inside, so I'm going to show it just a little bit. I'm going to put in the stems because they're so much fun, but I'm still going to use angles to do that. Can we see the lines okay, Mr. Cameraman? Okay. Now, just so I don't feel married to those guidelines, I'm just going to, let me just indicate the petals over here. I'm going to lightly erase and leave a ghost so that I have enough to go by, but so it's not so dark that it's distracting to me, because I don't want to feel I have to draw exactly where I've sensed out these guidelines. And I'm not tracing now, so I'm having to look and assess, and not all my assessments will be accurate the first time, or even the second time, probably not even the third time. So I'm going to start putting some detail in this top flower, and I'm going to just indicate that there's a darkening at the bottom of the petals. I don't want to forget that. And the great thing about sunflowers is they have a lot of petals, and you can get really lost in that. But you can sort of invent them too. So I'm just going to start with that petal right there, and they have pretty much a basic shape, which is sort of like that. And then as they crowd each other, you only see parts of them. And then there's some behind there. Can we see the lines, Mr. Cameraman? Good. Sometimes they stick up and flop over, and those are really fun. Sometimes they're folded over a little bit. and then other petals will come in. So now I'm really looking at the detailed shape. I'm assessing angles again of each little petal. And now that I've put quite a few down, I'm getting really, really confused because there's a lot of petals there. So I'm not going to worry about drawing each petal exactly as it is on this flower. I'm just going to work my way around and get the basic shape of the petal, making sure there are some in front, like this one, some tucked behind. Now this one is really interesting. It's really fallen front, so I'm going to stick it in. And then the other ones are sort of folded over a little bit. I'm not going to go all the way around. This is just to show the process. So now I'm going to put in some tone. The center, as we see, is very dark. So I'm going to start putting some tone in there. I'll leave that one petal sticking out. Shall we take a break?